and it's been asked in all kinds of different ways, and that's about re-engaging in quote unquote normal life, especially now that restrictions are starting to be lifted. Some of the things where that people said there's no going back to normal after this time, and that produces a lot of stress. Several people said that they have compromised immune systems and they don't know how they're going to feel comfortable going out. Again, still concerned about people losing their jobs in the future. So we're entering this time of lifted restrictions. People are looking forward to things for sure, but there's a lot of fear right now in opening that back up. So, Denny, do you want to get us kick-started on your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So we know that things will morph back into more or less the way they were at some point. Not exactly the same, but that life will return to normalcy in the next few months or maybe even next year. But at some point, we know that. And we've been, some people, especially those with compromised immune systems, have been traumatized by the fear. Well, all of us, to some degree, have been imprinted by this. You know, you'd have to sleep through this thing not to be affected in some kind of way.
Sure.
So finding our footing again, you know, I would say the thing that's been said many times, baby steps, taking this gradually, adjusting slowly, using coping skills. If you have a compromised immune system, you want to practice good hygiene. You want to make sure that you keep social distancing for quite a while. Hopefully there will be a vaccine. That will allay your anxiety if you can get vaccinated. Make sure your diet is optimal. Make sure that you exercise, you get enough sleep, all that stuff, as well as the things that have been touched on in terms of dealing with your anxiety. And starting the day off on the right foot. And I had a couple of other thoughts that kind of fell out of my brain too. But I would say that use good hygiene, know that you can take baby steps. One more thing I would say is that if you're leaving your car and going into Publix or Kroger's or Walmart, I'm talking a few months from now, and you have a compromised immune system, and suddenly you find yourself faced with an anxiety attack, okay? Or you're in the moment, and whatever the situation is, you're feeling anxious. Try to catch yourself. Watch your negative self-talk. Don't escalate it. And see if you can't do some deep breathing. Like, remember the numbers 4, 7, 8. Breathe into the count of 4, hold your breath to the count of 7, and then exhale to the count of 8. Because whenever we feel anxious, our abdomen constricts and tightens. And so if we can breathe deeply, then we loosen our abdomen and we can relax. And sometimes just having these little Band-Aid things that we can do in the moment will help us get out of the car so we can walk into Publix and get the soup that we need and the bread that we need, the milk, and leave quickly. But just find little things that'll get you through like that.
So 4, 7, 8.
4, 7, 8. And there's nothing magic in those numbers, but make sure your exhale is longer than your inhale, because you're exhaling all of the stress.
Sure.
And then also I would just say maybe you could do some guided imagery and some relaxation meditations. There's a lot of good YouTube relaxation meditations that people can tap into. And there are websites that are eager to sell you their CDs on them as well. One is called, it's on the top of my head, I think it's called healthjourneys.com, but there are many others that are very good that can give you some guided imagery and progressive relaxation tapes. And if you can practice mindfulness as you're doing that, and walk yourself through that, it can relax you.
Great.
Well, and to piggyback off what Denny said, a lot of times when we have anxiety or depression or emotional stuff, we react out of our emotions first before reacting out of our brain. So it's kind of the opposite effect of what we usually want. And so when we take deep breaths, or when we slow our emotions down or do some of our coping skills, it really is almost like transferring that. So instead of reacting out of that gut reaction, that fight or flight or intense, I got to get out of this situation, I can't go into Publix, it kind of then triggers our brain to, okay, it's okay to go to Publix now. It's okay to go in and get my milk and bread and pay for it, walk out and sanitize my hands. Kind of talking through. A lot of times, like Denny said, it's about reframing and kind of thinking about things a little differently. Instead of thinking about the panic, maybe it's, okay, what would I tell my friend about this? Almost getting that different perspective. My friend needs milk and soup. What would I tell them if they really, are needing that? I would tell them, it's okay. You can do it. You got this. So almost sometimes separating that out of ourselves helps us kind of think about it a little bit differently. But of course, what might be fine for myself or Joe or Denny might not feel comfortable to you. So you might not feel comfortable in a month, going into Publix, or 2 months or 3 months. And I would say that's okay. It's okay to kind of take your baby steps. It's okay to do what's comfortable to you. But I would say also recognizing, are you getting to a point of like, okay, everybody around you has started going to Publix and you're still, stuck in fear. I can't go there, and you kind of look at the norm of the population and you see that you're out here somewhere and everybody else is over here doing and greeting their friends and doing things, and you're over here. So a lot of times it's about just, I know we said comparison is of the devil, but sometimes it's okay to kind of take a glance around and kind of see what's everybody else doing. Is everybody else handling this, going to Publix okay right now? Maybe I need to step back and think about, is it okay for me to maybe do that? Or what steps do I need to take to feel like I could do that? Or who do I need to talk to feel like can take some steps to get back to the way maybe I would like my life to be. Maybe it won't look exactly like it did at the beginning of 2020 or 2019, but maybe it will start feeling a little bit more like, quote unquote, a new normal to me.